Hey guys, it's Old Folks here. So I want to have just kind of a little, I don't know, we call it state of the game or this team composition idea or anything else. I want to talk about how it's going to kind of end up in some ways with where the game's going and how stuff is changing and why certain characters just aren't good or why aren't as good as others. And, as we were talking with some other people and we were discussing, this whole Haley thing and some of the other stuff, it was like, why is this just not worth it? Why is that character not worth it? And we've kind of hit this, let's call it a bubble on how team compositions work. You see a lot of the same teams, very, very few changes. You see right now Kaiser's kind of the main tank. A lot of people are running Vortex. A lot of people are running Blaine. There they are. There's just a large percentage of these similar teams, similar makeups. There's some slight shifts and everything. There it is again. Depending on whether or not they're a free player, whether or not they're not a free player. Obviously, everybody here you see is kind of around the same thing. And I'm just in the 8 guys. Wow, he's got a gold star Robin. I'm not gonna lie, I'm impressed. Some of these teams, and it was like Haley, and I think this kind of set in for a lot of people. Haley came out, and again, I've talked about Haley. In my opinion, a lot of others, not a great character. The issue we ran into is who's she going to replace? You've given us all these people. Who are they going to replace? And we start talking about anytime a new character comes along, at what point do we decide they're worth putting in our lineup? And let's talk about the last 2 guys before we got Haley. We got Vortex. Now Vortex is this awesome damage dealing AE stun. I mean, he's a phenomenal legend when it came to legends for what he does. And if you've got him Silver Star or Gold Star, he is a beast. Just lays down the damage. You see these guys quickly on other servers who put the money in and got him 4 dots because he is that good. He changed up some of the teams. You saw them put him into their lineups. A lot of times you'd see the Edwin, the Teresa, you'd see the Monk Son, you'd see Blaine and Ariel and some of these things. And a lot of teams took Ariel out, put Vortex in, or they took out Blaine and put him in. They made slight changes to their teams to take him because of what he brought to the team and because of the damage he brought. Pagani changed a lot of how the gameplay worked because suddenly, and even after their slight debuff to her, because she was really powerful at first, suddenly she could take on these 1-1-3s, 1-4 teams with a tankless team and put the entire back row to sleep. And so suddenly it didn't matter how good your team was in the back row. If you got attacked by a team with, let's say Yuan and Pagani and Euro Solomon and some of these other single damage guys that could just mow through them one at a time, and that whole back row was asleep, they would destroy them. And so suddenly it became this, whoa, now it's just because I've got this huge powerful team. How do I balance that? How do I play against that? And so what we're running to is we see these characters coming in now, and we've kind of hit this peak. Any new character that comes in, the question goes, are they worth replacing one of my current lineups with in the long run? Are they worth money in the long run? Are they worth the time investment and everything else, all the gems? Are they going to change the compositions up enough? Now, Pagani did that. Vortex did that. Some might say it's not as big as they think, but if you really kind of watch the leaderboards, some of these guys, really rose into power where others didn't because they kind of were like, Pagani's nothing. So they didn't pick her up, and then suddenly she comes in and destroys these teams. And you can see a lot of these teams here that are doing well. These aren't legendary teams. These are just people that have gotten through and ran it off normal guys. you don't have to spend a ton of money on a legendary necessarily compared to some of the others. I'm in the top 20 still here, you know. Um, and so don't think just because you don't have a legendary you can't win. Legendaries are good, but it's how do the compositions work? And so in the current legendary meta, she just doesn't play well into the team. You know, she's not a top player. She's not someone you're going to see a lot. You're still going to see this knock-up team. I mean, he's sitting at currently ranked 34th on a server with, I mean, we're talking 4 dots. He's only 3. You know, so I mean, we got to look at kind of team composition. You know, people ask me again. I still got to make one, and I haven't. You know, what's my thoughts on Baggins? Again, some people love him, some people don't. You know, and so I go through all these different teams. They go, well, why do I never see a Baggins? Well, current team composition, he's just not there. Doesn't play into it. You know, you see some of these team compositions, you know, they're all working on the knockups, they're all working on the damage, they're all working on this or that. They're trying to build teams that flow well together. You know, here you've got your Magic team, 2 lockdowns, plus a 3rd sleep lockdown, plus the health region for all of the Magic users, plus the speed and the extra energy and everything else. So, you know, that's kind of what we're looking at for these new teams. And so, you know, I want to just say, as new people come out, obviously we're waiting on the next flavor of the month that comes out. Let's see, it's the 29th. We got a few more days, and the next month we're going to our new sign-in. That's going to be the new AD support kind of person that we're going to see for healing and everything and lifesteal. You know, how's that going to play out? Well, you know, I'll be honest, those guys actually do pretty good if you actually see them, you know. Crash. People kind of dismiss Crash, but a good, fully maxed out Crash can shut down all these Edwin teams, you know, and that's what it's about. You know, it changes up. And so I want you to think about, people ask me, hey, can you make me a team for the 80s? Hey, can you make me a team for the 90s? You know, hey, can you make me a team for this? And the truth is everything we have right now changes. I've done videos on a few guys, and you know, I didn't give them a high regard or a high mark or anything else because in their current state they're not great, but they're getting awakening skills, or they're doing changes to them, and suddenly that changes everything. You know, so it's all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you know, well, you said he wasn't worth anything and now he is. Well, you're right, he wasn't, but now he is because they changed him. So, you know, when I say here's a great team and a guy goes, I built that team and now they're trash, well, I can't help you if they change, you know, how it works. We're still in a Magic meta. We are still a very high Magic based team. That's what makes Kaiser so great. Huge Magic resist for his awakening. Gives it to a beast. You pair him right, helps shut down a lot of Magic teams. You know, a lot of guys have really struggled since I've awakened Kaiser to take down my team that could, because they were all Magic, and suddenly now I'm getting the Magic resist. You know, so there is this this issue they're kind of running into as far as, you know, how am I gonna build my team? So, you know, I don't mind, and I gladly share what little knowledge I feel I have. I know there's guys out there that have forgotten more than I know because they've been in the game since like Murder 12. I mean, they've been there for a while. And so, you know, we talk about different things and we talk about different teams, and someone's like, man, you know, you haven't seen this because you don't see it very often, but this is huge. And then we're like, but you know, if we give that to people, what happens when that changes? And the truth is, it's going to. You know, Spar, you know, he's changed already. Jolie used to be great when she was a gunslinger. Now she plays pool and can't do trash. And so, you know, I want you to think about looking at other people's teams, deciding for your own team. It's really hard when you're a VIP 0. You know, somebody said, hey, I've got Karna, but I hear she drops off. Well, she drops off. But if that's all you have to run with it. I mean, if you're not willing to spend gems, which, again, that's your choice, and I'm not looking down on you for it or not for it, you've got to say, I'm going to own it. And who knows what happens down the road in a month when they go, hey, Karna needs some love, and suddenly she's, woo, you know, she's awesome, and you're like, oh, I stopped leveling her. I wished I hadn't listened to you. I'm sorry. So think about team composition. Think about how you see things working currently. Realize that at some point they're going to have to flip the meta because they're going to hit a wall, because right now everything is so built around certain disabling, silencing, all these things. You're designed to not be able to do anything once blank cast. But what happens if you run into an AD team that can actually sustain themselves with the silence in effect? They're attacking at a fast enough rate, or a support comes along that disables all pop-ups, crash, or what I'm saying, things like that. Suddenly that guy's ability to immobilize you doesn't work, and they're bursting you down in the silence, everything you depended on. Well, then suddenly, those Magic teams are going to shift and change, and they're no longer going to hold that top spot. You're going to see, again, these same teams over and over that just aren't very good, that are suddenly doing better because it's changed. And at some point it has to. They're hitting this glass ceiling that they can't break through anymore before everything falls apart. And so I think in the coming, really want to say month to 3 months, we're really going to have to see a change in how they balance teams with new characters, and how they create new compositions, and how it all works together. One of the guys says, well, maybe we're going to get a whole Suicide Squad team. We're like, well, that would be funny, but it wouldn't be any good unless it changed everything but how they work together, at which point everybody who didn't get Haley would curse me. But we're looking 3 months into the wind that we don't know. But they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to implement more characters like Pagani, or things that disable other characters or reduce other characters. And that's Kong Ming. Why is Kong Ming so good? One of the guys up here has him in the top 10. And it's because of his lockdown. You pair him and a Teresa together, and suddenly, you've got a good chance. You pair him, Pagani and a Teresa together, and you really can do some amazing stuff. And so, it's looking at that. This video may seem like I haven't said a lot. I haven't given you any direction. I haven't given you any specifics, because all I'm really talking about is where the game is now and where it's going to have to end up in the coming months. They're going to have to change how teams work together. And as long as you're limited to 5 slots, and heaven forbid they open it to 6 slots, that would get crazy. You're going to really struggle with, how are these teams going to work together? How can I really change up the way and make me want a new character, make me want to invest in a new character, not just for a hero brawl, but for my arena team? What's going to make me want to spend my gems? Because remember, they're all about getting our gems, which requires money, and they're going to have to say, what can we do to create a change that's going to require that, to hold on to whatever position or whatever you feel you need for feeling good about yourself in the morning, or bragging to your friends, or whatever else. And don't take that wrong. So here we are. I may come back to this in 3 months and be like, look, I was right. I may come back to this in 3 months and be like, well, I was wrong. But I just see that there's going to be a major change that's going to have to happen, or people are going to continue to say, I don't need that character. I don't want that character. That character has no value for my current team. So unless you're a new guy who doesn't have Vortex, who doesn't have this, or who doesn't have that, I don't need it. And so I just kind of see that coming down. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I'm right. Tell me what you think needs to be changed for combat, or something else, or what you would like to see. I think we have some great fun discussion, but thanks for watching. Just some thoughts on a Saturday. And I will get back with you guys probably on Monday. I'll probably be out tomorrow. Beautiful days here in Texas. I've been out all day, just having fun in the sun. But have a great weekend, everybody.